Alright, what's up everyone, the French Monkey here, and today I wanted to make another tutorial on the crystal side of things, and I wanted to show you how to texture some of these. So we are going to try and recreate some of these textures, and as you can see, I've been using some SSS to make it kind of a smoky type of crystal. I use some bump map, normal maps, and some roughness. So you've been asking where I found these textures, and actually I've been using a lot of my grayscale kits. Some of my favorites are the grunge kit. I'm using this almost every day now. The smudge kit and the scratch kit as well. So we will go through these three to try and create a texture for our crystal. And yeah, so I'm gonna open Cinema 4D here. And all right, I'm gonna go to my settings. I'm gonna change some things around to prep our scene. And I'm gonna go directly to my render settings. So path tracing, I'm gonna up my specular depth, GI clamp to 1. I'm gonna go to my camera imager. I'm gonna change the response type to linear and put the gamma to 2.2. All right, so now I want to create my scene. So I'm gonna add a plane. I'm gonna make that a little bit bigger. For this, I only gonna need one segment, and I'm gonna make editable. And now we are going to create some crystals. And of course, I'm using the new crystal asset kit to grab some drag and drop asset. I'm gonna try and scale everything to size, to the size I want. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna add my camera. So I'm gonna go with an 80mm lens. And now I'm just gonna add a couple of lights. And I want a black environment. So I'm gonna scale up this light. And now what I want to do is create a null object and put my light into it. That way I'll be able to just rotate it around without leaving my render view. And all right, I'm gonna create, first of all, I want to create a black diffuse texture for my floor. And I'm just gonna add some roughness to it, just so we can have a base. And I'm gonna create a specular material now. So I'm gonna launch my render, and I need this to be a little bit more darker. And right now we have only one light. So I'm going to go to my specular and I'm going to add them. So I'm going to take my crystal, null, and I'm going to take my specular onto that folder. And I'm probably just going to render a section. All right, so I'm going to go to my Octane node editor, and we are going to start creating our texture. So I'm going to add an image texture, and I'm going to go to my library here. So I have my grayscale kits, and I'm going to select the grunge kit, and I'm just going to choose one randomly. So these are in 8K, and tileable as well. So I want maybe something like this. Yeah, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna duplicate this one, and I'm gonna load the normal map as well. And I'm gonna duplicate another time. And now I will probably go to my scratch kit and select one randomly again. Nope. I think that's too much. Yeah. So these are also 8K and tileable. All right, so now I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna add this to my roughness channel. And you know what? I'm gonna put this to size so I can see exactly what's happening. So as we can see now, we have some roughness here. And what I want to do first of all is go to my dispersion and add something here. And we will change that later on. I'm going to link my bump, my normal, and I'm going to add the scratch as a bump layer. And something that I want to do is to change the UV mapping from UVW to cubic. And now I'm going to add some float nodes, and the float will control the intensity. And I will try to see what happens if I invert my roughness. Yeah, that's not going to work. So I'm probably gonna go and try a different map for this one. So I have also some dirt, so I'm gonna try this. Yeah, I think this will work better. Right, so now I'm gonna try and see the bump map. As you can see here. And what I want to do is create a transform node and just change the size. And I'm going to do some random rotation as well. And I'm going to do the same thing on my normal map. Just scale it down. All right, so now that we have this setup, I'm going to try and work a little bit on my floor first of all. So I'm going to go to my node editor, and I'm probably going to need a glossy texture for this one. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to add an image texture, and again I'm going to go to my grunge kit and I'm going to select another one. So I would take this, and I also want the normal map. So I'm going to link the normal here, and I'm going to add this to my roughness channel. And something I want to do here as well is the transform tool to scale this down a bit, maybe not that much. And I'm gonna try to add this in my specular. So no, that's not working. I might go to my diffuse and pretty much disable that. Go to my refraction, to my specular, and reduce my specular as well. So UV transform to the normal map as well. And something I want to do as well is add some displacement. So I'm just gonna go and load another texture. So I'm probably gonna go with the diffuse one. And I'm gonna add my displacement node. I'm gonna link this up. I'm going to change the height to 0.4 and I'm going to change that to 4K. And I also want to, turn down the size of this. As you can see here now, we have some displacement, so I might go to 1 now. Even 2. Yeah, I think that's better. And I might add a float texture here on my roughness. And bump this up a little bit. And yeah, I think we are good with this. So now I'm gonna try and work a little bit with my lighting. So we still have one light and I'm gonna try to put this right behind as a fill light. I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna rotate it around. And I'm probably gonna bring it closer to the crystal and make it a little bit smaller. So yeah. I'm gonna close the other one to see what's happening. And I'm gonna duplicate a couple times. And now I'm just gonna play around with the intensity. So, my fill light is a little bit too much. As you can see here, we have a lot of highlights. So I might go to my to the camera imager and just add some highlight compression. And I will change the ground a little bit. I might add more height in the displacement. And turn down even more the specular. And actually, what I can do is just add a texture clamp and feed this right here and add this to my specular channel. We need more light here in the front, so I'm gonna duplicate my first light, which is the big one, and I'm gonna add this. I'm gonna try to add this in the front part. All right, so now that we have a lighting that works, I'm gonna go to my crystal material again, and I want to add some subsurface scattering. So I'm gonna go here to my medium and I'm gonna add, and I think it's the scattering option. Yeah. I'm gonna go down here. I will load a color node. So I think it's RGB spectrum. I'm gonna add that to my scattering. and I'm going to add a red color. I'm going to go to my scattering layer, and I might want a little bit less. And of course, I need to work with the region render to be able to see what's happening. And yeah, I like that. And now the other thing that I want to do is I'm going to load another texture, and this time I'm going to go with the organic kit, and I'm going to choose one randomly again. Yeah, I think this will work. So I'm going to load this, and I'm going to add that to the absorption channel. And of course, I will need to modify the scale. And as you can see here now, we have something happening. So I'm going to try again and rotate this. And of course, I'm going to go to my index, and I might want to decrease the index and add just a little bit. And now our issue, as you can see now, is the light. So I'm going to see which light is affecting the top part. And it's this one. So I'm just going to decrease this light. And now, as we can see, we have this kind of smoky bubble inside of it. So I want to make this a little bit brighter. So I'm going to go to my texture. I'm going to add a colorizer. And I'm just going to change the value, black and white. Yeah, that's better. And actually, I might also want to just rotate some of the parts. And the other issue that I have, because I was rendering this and I saw some big highlights here, so I really want to adjust that. So I'm going to close all my lights again, and I'm going to play around them one by one to really find a place to put them. So this one is okay. And I'm just going to try and find a couple of spots here and check if everything's right. So we still have a lot of light here on the top. And another thing that I want to check is also the scattering. So I might want to add more density actually. So I'm taking my lights a little bit more behind the scene so that we don't have these harsh highlights here. All right, so now one of the other issues that I have that I just found out is the, I think this was the bump map, and I think the bump map is a little bit too much, and this kind of dispersion would take forever to render. So what I'm going to do is go to my scratch, and I'm going to add a lot less. So I'm just going to render this part right here, and I'm going to turn that down. All right, so I've stopped the render. I left this for around 10 minutes to render, and of course, you know, there's a lot of issues that I wanted to fix. Like here in the front plane, we have this kind of intersection, which I don't really like, so it would be nice to just rotate these quads around. I wanted to work a little bit more on the floor and of course on my lighting, because it has kind of a poor lighting condition. So yeah, but you know what, I'm just going to save that and I'm going to put that inside of Photoshop, and I'm going to go to my filter, camera raw filter, and I'm going to do some adjustments here. I'm going to click OK, and now I'm going to add I'm going to do some change. So I have a very specific way I'm doing my color grading. So I'm just gonna quickly show you how to do that. I usually start by this selective color, and I try to adjust each color on their own. After that, I add a color balance. And next, I'm going to go to my color lookup, and I'm going to try and load some lookups here. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to turn down the opacity a little bit. And another one I like is the foggy night, and I'm going to add a level. I'm going to make it a clipping mask, and I'm going to turn down the opacity. And next, I'm going to add a level. I'm going to add some vibrance, and lastly, I'm going to add an exposure, and I'm going to turn down again the opacity just a little bit. And last step is to duplicate my layer, go to filter, other, high pass, and I'm usually leaving the radius to 1, and I'm going to turn this layer from normal to linear light, and I'm going to turn down this to add a little bit of sharpening. And now for the export, I usually go to the export and save for web. And this is our final render right here. And yeah, so again, there's a lot of stuff that I could have done better, but I will try to make another tutorial on this, and I'm going to try and fix all of those issues that I had. But I just wanted to show you really quickly how I'm making my texturing, and as you can see, I'm using most of the time my grunge kit, smudge kit, and scratch kit. Be sure to check those out. I'm gonna have a link down in the description. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I will see you in the next one.